Ted Leitner had the distinct pleasure and privilege of not only calling Tony's entire playing career as a Padre, but watching him play predating his pro existence as an amateur at San Diego State, and few knew Tony the way Ted did. Uncle Teddy, as he's referred to in San Diego, and he joins us on the phone this morning. Ted, good morning.
Guys, how are you?
We're doing great. Thanks for the phone call. I think folks that watch the show, Mr. Padre, learn things about Tony that perhaps the lay fan didn't know. Give us an additional layer into Tony as to why he was so good at his craft. You watched him for years.
I did, and by the way, and not to blow smoke before I mention that, but in terms of social media, in terms of people calling me and stopping me on the street and yada yada, since then, time after time, person after person, it's been, oh my God, did you see the MLB, that documentary? It's so perfect.
Oh, it's good to hear.
Good.
Good to hear you say that.
That's great.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. The comments have been, how could you be better? How could you do it better? So absolutely unbelievable. And also the comments of, hey, I just watched the MLB network documentary on Tony, and I can't stop crying. I'm exhausted. I'm a wreck. So you guys did just a magnificent job. And to answer your question, he had great skills. He had, incredible eyesight and hand-eye coordination and all those things. He was a great athlete. I mean, when I first met him, it was San Diego State basketball before he even played baseball, because initially the coach at San Diego State, Tim Veazey, wouldn't let him play baseball. So his first year there, it was all basketball, and that was it. It was a basketball scholarship and no baseball. So I met him with baseball, and the truth of the matter is he thought he was better in baseball, but he loved basketball more. And as you know, he was drafted by the Clippers when they were in San Diego and so forth and so on. But he had those skills. But to answer your question, it was the work ethic. It was the invention of using video. The first player in baseball, it's common now with video coordinators and all that stuff, but it was Tony and his own little machine plugging it in hotels and watching his at-bats in the ball game that night, and just an amazing work ethic. And he was not a great outfielder at San Diego State. He made himself into a great outfielder. That's what they always tell. His agent, John Boggs, always tells the story that all that other stuff came to him, and the 8 batting titles and all that. When he first won his Gold Glove, John called him. He was on the road, so he was sick. He was making an appearance. When he told Tony about the Gold Glove, he was literally jumping up and down on his bed in the hotel, screaming, because that's what his goal was, to become good in right field. And by God, he became good in right field.
That's awesome. Hey, Ted, my stories with Tony, there's so many. We all have, if you knew him, you have a bunch of stories. But I want to ask you, because this happened to me quite a bit. I'd be out east and he was out west, and he would call me to talk about college basketball. And It wasn't UCLA and taking on Notre Dame or something like that. It was like New Mexico State playing Utah. Did you see that kid? Seriously, he watched everything. He had such a passion for it. Did you ever get those calls from Tony?
Oh, no question. And above and beyond the calls, when the seasons would start, of course, at the end of spring training, and then the season would start, whether we were home or road, it was coming up to the end of the March Madness and the Final Four. And they'd have the pool, like all teams do, in terms of talking about who's going to win and whatever. And every time Tony would say to me, he'd call me and say, hey, you come to Clubhouse tomorrow? Why? Because these guys don't know I play basketball. They don't have a clue. You can imagine the high-pitched voice who's saying that. They don't know I played. They don't know that I was good, and I got no cred. I got no credibility with these guys whatsoever. Come down and tell them I played basketball. And we go through this on a yearly basis with new players and young players coming in, and he's handling this pool for the NCAA. But he was really, really a terrific, quick point guard. I don't know if he had chosen basketball, how he would defend based on his height or lack of height in the NBA. With guys like Magic Johnson, and suddenly there's 6'8", 6'9" guards. But from an offensive standpoint, I mean, he still has the all-time assist record at San Diego State, and it's been a while. He loved basketball. He had season tickets to the Pacers. Bought a house in Indiana, so he'd go up there and watch them all the time.
He did. That's
crazy, right?
I remember that.
Is that amazing? I know it. That's good stuff.
Yes, Harold, you know, he just, I mean, basketball was his first love, and then baseball. And in retrospect, he did choose the right sport professionally.
And the film Mr. Padre is on MLB Network currently, again, coming back on Tuesday, if you happen to miss it the first time through. Teddy, it's been a rough winter in terms of beloved franchise figures for the Padres being lost. And, you know, the news that Kevin Towers passed earlier this week hit us all at different levels, and KT had been battling with cancer for some time. But, you know, we tried talking about it on this show, and you knew Kevin as well as the next guy. He was about as painfully honest as a general manager with us because he trusted us. And he would tell you things that, you know, you're not going to get from every general manager because he knew that he could tell you things and trust that you wouldn't use it on the air. I mean, did you feel that way about Kevin at the time as well?
This back then, and this doesn't happen too often. If you walked in Bruce Bochy's office when Bruce was the manager in San Diego and KT was the general manager, I could walk in, turn that corner, and I'd walk in, and two of them would be in a meeting, and I would immediately stop and turn around, and Kevin would say, Teddy, where are you going? You guys are meeting. I'll wait. Come in, sit down. That kind of trust that they knew that you knew what was off the record and on the record. That was KT with the media. Hey, I'll tell you what. I never saw a general manager like that. I think we'll never see the likes of this guy who used to be a player, became a scout, and had incredible trust. He acted like one of the guys in the clubhouse. He could walk through the clubhouse and players would hug him. They loved him. They trusted him. They knew he might trade them if he had to, you know, make his club better. That was part of his job. But he never acted like an executive or like a boss. And he was absolutely unbelievable. I think one of a kind. And I know he wasn't. I'll give you an example. I talked to Brian Cashman when the Padres went to New York to play in the last year of the old stadium, and I had Brian on a radio show. And I asked him about, you know, what he wants to do in baseball and going forward. Is he going to be a Yankee forever? He said, you know what I want to be when I grow up? Said Brian Cashman. I said, what? He said, I want to be Kevin Towers. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? He said, you know, we're the young Turks. We're the guys with the laptops. We're the guys who really, a lot of us didn't play. We weren't scouts, the old-time baseball scout. We have this job. We hope we're good at it or become good at it. But Kevin was a scout's scout. He was a baseball guy. And I would love to have that kind of feel for the game. I'd love to someday be a Kevin Towers. I think that was a great definitive comment about KT.
Hey, Teddy, thanks for the visit this morning. Nice to speak with you. Ted is all over the documentary, Mr. Padre, that you can watch here on the network. Continued success, Teddy. Great to catch up with you. Thanks again for the call.
Thanks, guys. Great to talk to you.
Ted Leitner joining us this morning on Hot Stove.